of Barack Obama and his recent election to the office.
Thank you, sir. I want to welcome to the podium a sister, one who has provided leadership and voice from her gender perspective that has found embrace in the Christian community in broad circles. She's come to ministry some years ago now and has lined up, the Lord has blessed her with a list of first in terms of her evolving and coming on the scene at a time when the place and face of women in ministry was tremendously challenged. She has merged together her gifts as a PR person, as a pastor, and has been able to launch exposure that has impacted the church in a broad way across denominational lines. She served as the first African-American pastor in the 200 years of the American Baptist Church. She served as the first woman elected president of the Hampton Ministers Conference.
Yes.
Wow. We celebrated her in New York as the pastor, senior pastor of Bronx Christian Fellowship, and we are blessed to have her perspective a part of this discussion. Susan Johnson.
Thank you. We salute the vision of Reverend Al Sharpton for bringing us together. We thank you for the leadership and moderation of Pastor Richardson. We thank you for my co-sojourners, both on the panel and in the audience. And we salute the legendary leadership of the Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson. It's an honor and a privilege. Reverend Jackson was at my service at the Apollo Theater not long ago, and I interviewed him, and I asked why was he crying on that night. The camera certainly flashed a lot of times. And we talked about the links and the legacy, but most of all, the joy and the journey. And that we wouldn't have gotten to this moment. Yes, it is a moment without Shirley Chisholm, Reverend Jesse Lewis Jackson, standing on that stage twice and paving the way so that there would be a Barack Obama as president of the United States. I would say, yes, this is a moment. It is a Kairos moment, equal to that of the wise men following that star and finding Jesus, equal to the moment after 27 years of Mandela being in prison and becoming president. So it is a moment for us in history, but it rests certainly on the prayers and the persistence and the perseverance and the prophecies of the Black church. And so we must, as Oprah said, continue to be prophetic and not be pathetic. I think as we look to this new day, it is God's doing. And what we have found is that even though we have a president of the United States, there are people like Sojourners and other white evangelical groups who have his ear. And the Black church, we don't have an agenda, and so we do not have his ear, even though our prayers got him in. And so we must create an agenda that calls our president to sit with us, to listen to us, and to receive our advice so that he has all perspectives at hand. And so we must be ready for the moment. I think that as we look at liberation theology in the height and this timing of the Obama era, if you look next to President Obama, he has a strong Black woman, Amen. Michelle. She's trained and prepared and ready to lead. And so I don't think we can adequately go forward in this millennium as the Black church and respond to racism without dealing with the sexism of the Black church. Right. So December 1st will be 30 years for me in ministry in my own town, 3 decades. And so I've earned the right to say whatever I want to say. And so just as Martin Luther created Lutheranism and Wesley created Methodism and Richard Allen, tired of sitting in the balconies, created African Methodism, and Barrick, responding to sitting in the balcony, created African Methodist Episcopal Zion. We too must respond to women who are not even in the balcony, or women who are out in the field still trying to get in. And so as a sister pastor, I have found the lack of mentoring from our own community. And so what we've created every October, I take sisters away who want to invest. They have to pay their way. But many are so burnt out, some are missing in action. And so for a weekend, we take them to an island or to some tropical climate and let them sit at the feet of those who have survived. And so I think the best investment is to sow into a sister's ministry and let her come and sit at the feet of the elders. But I also think as a church community, we have to embrace not just me, I've made it, but we have to embrace the totality. Because unless all of us have made it, none of us have made it. Thank
you. Thank you, Dr. Cook. Bishop E. Bernard Jordan is the founder since 1983 of Zoe Ministries. He has aligned himself with our leader, Reverend Sharpton, and the National Action Network in a very supportive way, in which we are very grateful. He is an internationally focused minister, having telecast and internet stream around the world. He's been invited to speak in international forums like the United Nations and other places. He's written a whole legacy of books. He teaches more than 300 pastors who are under him in his work. And we are blessed to have him come and share his perspective in this discourse. Let me welcome our friend, Bernard Jordan.
Bless you, Reverend Richardson, and giving honor to God. I want to thank all the distinguished panelists that are with us, and good to see Reverend Jesse Jackson with us today. Liberation in an Obama age. I wrote a prophecy. This is in 4 volumes. I'm getting ready to go to write volume 5 that was written in 1996. And it's entitled First African American President. And it was great to hear so much talk about the prophetic, because I believe that this signals that when we begin to see a black man in office, is going to elevate the African American prophet in America. Not that he has not been elevated, but his voice will become more pronounced. Because when God began to raise up kings in Israel, and it started with Saul, then the school of the prophets began to emerge, because there must always be that check or balance of power. And therefore, when there is a political system, there must be a spiritual system that throws it into check. And it reads, "In this hour, the day of the Lord will be revealed in a greater measure than that which has been witnessed in centuries gone by. You will see in your day where I shall take a man of color, an African-American, and cause him to win the presidency of the United States. Do not rejoice in this, for he shall be but a puppet dancing on the strings of manipulation, and the African American community will suffer greatly at the hands of the nation. You will behold the ugly sight of corruption of power, and I will begin to show the church and those that desire to know where real power lies, for it lies within me. I will bring men to an awareness of the many changes that will come about. I will reveal the plans that I have laid in this hour, and you will behold my glory expressed in new dimensions." Now, when this prophecy began to become fulfilled, and it started circulating because we've sold tens of thousands of these books, they've been in people's homes, and now people are starting to pick it up. And one thing I had to begin to say is that I'm not against Obama. I had to keep saying I'm not against the President Obama. I says, but this is something that God has signaled to us that a time is coming.